Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back. Another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are recording Monday, September 8th. And there's not much going on. It's fully in the middle of September. We're still going to talk about the upcoming Celtics season, but I think this is the first time all summer we've had literally no actual news on the sheet, which is fine because that's part of what we're supposed to do is just talk even when there's no news. But how you doing, Sam?
Doing pretty good. You know, great way to start the work week where we're looking for topics to write about, and there is literally nothing. Not very good in terms of that. But what I will say is fun show on the way for you guys today because Jack and I are going to make something out of nothing. We will go through who we think is going to step up with Jayson Tatum being absent, and more specifically, what the stat leaders within the Celtics will be this season and try and give some perspective on what fans should expect with this weird situation the team is in. We'll go through your emails and we'll do the rat list and we'll get out of here. But yeah, subscribe. We are here every single day. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Even when there is no news, we will be here. And other videos are on the channel in between to keep you up to date with everything going on with the C's. But without further ado, a lot of individuals taking the floor this year. Who's going to be the best at what? That's the big question.
Yeah, so obviously the Celtics look a lot different this year than they did last year. Jayson Tatum injury, even aside, Drew Holiday traded to the Blazers, Kristaps Porzingis traded to the Hawks, Cornette gone to the Spurs, Horford soon to be gone to the Warriors, and that leaves a lot of openings in the team to do new things that players haven't necessarily had the chance to do. So I figure the best way to discuss like who could step up in what area is just go stat by stat, points, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals. Who do we think will lead the team in that category and go from there? I'll pull up the 2024-25 roster so we can get some context into who led the team in that per game and total stats last season. So you want to start with points? I feel like it's probably the easiest place to start. We can start with minutes too if you'd rather, but I feel like points is
Is it minutes
the
total?
best one.
Or minutes per
Well,
game?
both. So we'll do points. We'll do points to start to set the baseline. Last year, Tatum led the Celtics in points, 26.8 per game. Also in total points at 1,932. I mean, Jaylen Brown is just the most obvious answer. There's going to be. I don't think there's another option really. The only other guys that really have a shout are Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, and Anthony Simons, and I don't really think any of them are particularly close to what Jaylen Brown is going to do. This is going to be Jaylen Brown's team. It's going to be his chance to lead the Celtics. It's going to be his chance to be the number one option, which you can imagine he's wanted throughout his entire career, I should say. I don't know if we want to put an actual number on it, but I think, at least in my mind, it's pretty clear that he's going to lead the Celtics in points.
Yeah, that it would be shocking if he did not. It would be like, I don't know, minus 10,000 if you were betting on this. Like, he's the obvious front runner. There's competition, but there's no significant competition. It's not like it could be him or Derek, it could be him or Peyton. Like, do I think Derek White and Peyton Pritchard are going to take leaps this year? Yeah, probably. Like, you're going to see those guys score more points. They're going to have more opportunities to put the ball in the basket, more opportunities to create, more opportunities to set their teammates up. But ultimately, it's going to have to go through Jaylen. Jaylen is going to have to be the driving force behind the Celtics' success this year. It's going to be on his shoulders. And it's going to be very interesting for all of us to see how he handles that. Like, okay, Game 5 in the playoffs was a small, isolated example, but he looked pretty comfortable. He looked inspired. He played his ass off with a torn meniscus. Or he had a torn meniscus, right? I didn't make that up.
Yeah, I think it was partially torn meniscus.
Okay, all right, good. I wanted to make sure I wasn't just lying to people. Yeah, he had a torn meniscus. Okay, but like that's like really the only like big game moment we've seen him play without Tatum. Like Game 2 against Orlando, him and Porzingis combined to play pretty well too. After Tatum had hurt his ankle in Game 1 when KCP like undercut him or whatever happened, or the wrist rather. But yes, long-winded way of me saying I think Jaylen will be the points per game leader for the Celtics. I think it would be shocking if somebody else was the points per game leader. He should be anywhere from 27 to 30. Will it necessarily translate to team success? Maybe not, which sucks. Like this is is Jalen a good stats, good team, good stats, bad team guy? And with somebody that has a finals MVP, it's not often that we have to sit here and try and think about this and learn and figure out what it's going to be. Not that this should be a career long indictment either, but we're going to see how impactful whatever statistics he puts up are as well.
Yeah, and there's got to be some context too, right? Because if the Celtics aren't very good and Jaylen Brown puts up incredible stats, I don't think it's necessarily fair to look at it and say, okay, well, he just puts up good stats, bad team, because they don't really have a competitive roster. Like, I think they'll be better than people expect, but this isn't like they very clearly didn't prioritize, let's give Jaylen Brown the best chance to win, right? Like that just wasn't the offseason priority. And that's not a lack of belief in Jaylen Brown. That's just we make too much money. We need to cut down the salary, and that has to be the priority. And so they didn't really sign win now centers. They didn't really sign win now forward or wing depth, right? It's a lot of we're going to trust the young guys and see what happens. And you can only give a guy a fair shout as much as you're willing to invest in him. And they didn't really do that simply because that's not the position they were in terms of finances and aprons and all that stuff. But I do think I'm going to be looking at the efficiency, perhaps more than the points for Jaylen Brown. I think it'll be a very impressive season if he can manage to just, have a really efficient 25 to 26 point season rather than a inefficient 30 point per game season. I think that'd probably lead to better winning basketball. And the things I'm going to be looking forward to the most in terms of Jaylen Brown scoring and points this season is 1, 2-point field goal percentage, because I think they should reroute the offense to where obviously Jayson Tatum's style is very different. He works a lot at the top of the key that allows him to take some of those threes he likes. That's where he takes almost all his threes and also get downhill out of the pick and roll from there. That is not Jaylen Brown's offense. That is not how he likes to play. He likes to get to the mid range. He likes to post up and he likes to work from there. And so if the 2-point percentage is higher, it probably means they're adjusting the offense for Jaylen Brown to work. Also want to see him get to the free throw line a lot. I know he's had his free throw percentage struggles, whatever, in the past. But listen, his style of offense is I am going to bully you in the post, get a turnaround jumper, or get to the hoop. The free throws should increase with that. And so I would like to see him at least work his way to the line more than he has in years past because he just hasn't had the opportunity. So I think those two things are going to be very important. I think the threes will come. How many threes per game did Jaylen Brown take last year? Let me pull up the stats here.
I would guess 6, maybe 5.
So Jaylen Brown last season attempted per game, I should say, attempted 5.7 threes, per game, and total was at 358. Now, those numbers will probably go up because he only played in 63 games last year. Knock on wood, if he plays in more than that, will probably naturally go up. But I'd rather see efficiency than volume for Jaylen Brown in the threes, whereas some other guys, you could argue otherwise. But yeah, so points, I think Jaylen Brown is a pretty obvious for you. What do you want to do next? Do you want to do minutes? I think we should do the big 5+ minutes as the top ones.
Sure. I want to talk one more thing about the Jaylen points per game, because you're making an interesting point about like how they're going to have to play with him. Maybe we see a little bit of like old school type basketball from the Celtics, like little sprinkles of it where Jalen's getting buckets from the mid range. You're not necessarily seeing like a ton of drive and kick. Like it might be more play calls for different guys. Not to say that they don't do that anyways, but like a lot of what the Celtics do at times is like there are actions that create advantages, and then the players need to make the reads and like just set up whoever it may be. But like, I don't know, maybe there will be like sets where they run things to get somebody coming off a screen to take a jump shot. Like I feel like you don't see that as much anymore. And with the personnel that they have, that would be an adjustment that could maximize the talent, even if we don't feel like it's like a super mega team that they had the last couple seasons where everybody's just nasty. It's like, okay, how can we make Nemi the best player that he can be? How can we get the most out of Peyton Pritchard when we're kind of increasing his role? And obviously, the way you presented it, how can they make Jalen the best Jalen can be? And how can they make him the most impactful he can be for the rest of the team as well? And I'm actually really excited to see that. I'm glad that you mentioned it.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of setting Jalen up to get the similar mismatches that Like in the sense of I think they're still going to hunt mismatches, but it's going to look a lot different. When you're hunting mismatches for Jayson Tatum, it is I'm going to draw a big man out to the perimeter and we're going to work from there. When you're hunting mismatches for Jaylen Brown, it is who is the smallest player on the floor, get him in the post and let Jaylen work from there. And so you're probably going to see, at least I hope you should see a lot more guard screening. I think Peyton Pritchard, Derek White setting some screens for Jaylen Brown is going to be a really good source of offense because you're not going to have a lot of big guys there. And if Jaylen wants to work, he's probably going to get to, honestly, that'll leave some really good opportunities for Nemi if you think about it, right? If you set a guard screen with Peyton Pritchard or Derek White at the top of the key, you're going to have whoever's guarding Jaylen Brown, which is probably going to be the best defender on the floor. So I'll use the Thunder as an example. You'll probably have Lou Dort on Jaylen Brown and Shea or Cason Wallace on Peyton Pritchard or Derek White. They come to set the screen. That'll leave Chet in the paint guarding Nemi or Isaiah Hartenstein in the paint guarding Nemi, depending on the lineup. You set that screen, let Jaylen work in the paint, wait for him to help over. All Nemi has to do is work the dunker spot, shift over, shuffle over, get open. It should be an open dunk or a good shot at the rim. So I think the way they hunt matchups should also allow Jaylen Brown to have an uptick in assists and passes too. And, if you get an extra helper come over to help on Nemi because Isaiah Hartenstein ships over, then Nemi will have to find the kick-out pass, which something Luke Cornett was really good at. I think you'll just see a lot more unique ways of the Celtics finding offense. So we can do minutes next, and then we'll go to the rest of the stats. I think those are two big ones. Context: last year, Jayson Tatum led the Celtics in minutes per game at 36.4 minutes per game, and total minutes at 2,624. Although Derek White was only 50 minutes behind him, so it was a pretty close race up top there for the minutes race. This is, I think, an interesting one because it's the question of who can stay the healthiest to play the most minutes. If you want my honest guess, I think Derek White's a good option, but I think the strain of a season could take a little bit more and they might be rest. I think it's going to be Derek White or Peyton Pritchard. I think you're going to see some Jaylen Brown, at least more Jaylen Brown rest nights than you do for Derek White and Peyton Pritchard. And even if not, I think he's been a little bit more injury prone throughout the last few years of his career than those two guys. So I think Derek or Peyton is probably going to be your best bet here. Peyton was third on the team in minutes last year. Context 300 behind Derek White. I'm going to go Derek White. I think it's the safest bet. I think it's between the two, but I think Derek White leads the Celtics in minutes this year. Total, not per game, obviously.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I would have. Pritchard is like the guy that just will not go away in my mind. He's always durable. He hasn't been asked to play high usage minutes like up until this point. He's always been a bench player, hasn't had to play starter minutes, and I think that could push him above everybody else. Like I think he's going to be an important offensive piece for them this year. He's primed to take another leap. He was very good last year, and I just feel like he's earned the opportunity. And not to say that he's outplaying anybody else that's going to have minutes too, like Derek, Jaylen, just as important. I just feel like he's younger than those guys, even though he's not as young as everybody thinks. He is still younger. He's got less miles on him total because he hasn't been in the league as long. He hasn't played starter minutes for as long, and I think that's going to enable him to stay healthy and also to just be – he's not going to want to sit out games, that kind of thing. You are muted, I think.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry. I said it could be Jaylen Brown, like very easily if he stays healthy. But if I'm betting on health, I think I'd probably bet on Pritchard and Derek White. I think both of whom have had 82 game seasons over the last 2 years, at least one of them. So I think that's fair. Before we do continue, I do need to tell you about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action this baseball season, football season, which is here. If you're looking to bet or pick football picks, stats. You just pick more or less than at least two players for shots to win up to 2,000x your cash. Run your game all season long with Prize Picks. The Patriots were unfortunately not victorious in their first week 1 game against the Raiders. However, if you're looking at the season, you're looking at the bounce back of Drake May or the running of Travion Henderson. You just pick more or less on rush yards, on passing touchdowns, on interceptions if you'd like, if they're playing a bad matchup during the season. Sam and I use the Prize Picks every single pregame show. For Celtics games, you can pick more or less on things like points, rebounds, assists, turnovers if you're rooting against the other team. So make sure to check it all out. Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account, but it also puts their members first. So all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 15 minutes. Make sure to check it out. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks will run your game. Okay, let's do rebounds next. So this is a bit of an interesting one because Jayson Tatum obviously led the team in rebounding last year, 8.7 rebounds per game, total rebounds as well, 623. The next highest was 388. So he lapped everybody. Luke Cornett was second on the Celtics in rebounds last year, which is quite the interesting stat considering he was eighth in total minutes. Jayson Tatum had almost 300 more defensive rebounds than anybody, 575 to 290 for Al Horford. Luke Cornett had 190 offensive rebounds last season. Do you know who was second on the Celtics in offensive rebounding, Sam?
I feel like the answer is going to be like Peyton Pritchard.
It is indeed Peyton Pritchard.
Yep.
Luke Cornett had 190. Peyton Pritchard had 102. For context, Jayson Tatum, who led the team in rebounding by over 200, had the ninth most offensive rebounds on the team last year. So I guess we could split this up into a couple different questions. We could do defensive rebounds, total rebounds, offensive rebounds. I think if you are hoping for the best possible outcome this season, it is that Neemias Queta leads the Celtics in rebounds. He takes a massive leap. He's on the floor enough to do so, and that is what it looks like. For context, he did finish third in offensive rebounding despite finishing 10th in minutes. So that is a very, very good sign. A lot of them might have been his own misses. However, still led the team in that stat. I think the most realistic outcome might just be Jaylen Brown leads the Celtics in rebounding. But I think the best outcome is Neemias Queta does.
I think Nemi is, he had the third most offensive rebounds and he didn't play consistently last year. Like, I think he's going to lead the team in rebounds. I think he's going to be asked to rebound. That's going to be one of his primary responsibilities. You know, he's going to have to hit the defensive glass, obviously. Like you mentioned, he was a tremendous offensive rebound. I think that the league should also, like, put an asterisk or do something where, like, your own offensive rebounds are, like, worth half a offensive rebound or something like that. Like, where you don't see guys having their stats getting inflated because they can't really finish around the rim. And that is partially why Nemi had so many offensive rebounds, it feels like. But he is still, like, a big body. He battles down low. Like, you can't really take it away from him. And we've seen, like, in Eurobasket, he was really effective on the glass. He had that monstrosity, whatever you want to call it, of a game where he debuts and has, like, the 20 and 15 first guy to ever do it in a debut.
Yeah, something really good.
Like, yes, he was playing against the Czech Republic, but hopefully he's able to carry over some of that because he's going to be one of the main guys. Like, do they have a rotation of bigs? I was going to say good rotation. They have a rotation of bigs. They have him. They have Luka Garza. They have Chris Boucher. They've got Tillman. They've got Amari Williams if they decide they would like to trot him out there. Nemi is sadly probably the best of the bunch. So he's going to have to contribute. He's going to have to be able to hold his own on the glass and take care of his responsibility when he's on the floor. So I feel like he is, like, to me, it's far and away. Like, it just seems like a foregone conclusion. He's going to grab a lot of rebounds, but Jaylen is going to have more responsibility too. Like, you're right. He's going to have to take initiative there. He's athletic. He's strong. He's physically gifted where he can battle on the glass. And if he does get rebounds, it may help to get him out running in transition, push the pace. It just depends what they're going to want to do this year.
Yeah, so per 36 minutes last year, Neemias Queta had 9.8 rebounds per game. Jaylen Brown at 6.1. The biggest thing for me, I think per game, Neemias Queta is going to clear everybody. I think he should have the most rebounds per game by far in the team. Where it runs into problem is, do you believe Neemias Queta is going to develop enough to not be taken off the floor because of foul trouble? Right? Like, with increased minutes comes increased likelihood for fouls. And we've seen him check into the game late in the first quarter and be taken out by halftime because he's got 4 fouls, right? Do you believe in his development enough that that's not going to happen often? I think Eurobasket was a great step in the right direction. I think he looked really good. He did get ejected once, which was less than ideal, but I don't think that was necessarily a fair ejection to transfer in terms of, taking that into account for next season. I think Neemias Queta should lead the team in rebounding. However, there is a world where he just isn't on the floor enough to do so. But per game, I think it's going to be him by far. It's just a matter of how consistently will Joe trust him to be on the floor. Will Chris Boucher steal his starting spot if that looks to be the better lineup? Will Luka Garza break out into a really good? But I don't know, right? There's just a lot of question marks if something goes wrong with Mishkita's development. However, if things go the right way, he absolutely should lead the team in rebounding. Like that should be how it plays out for sure.
I want to be fair here. We did miss it. We did miss it. There's also a chance that Anthony Simons is towards the top of the scoring leaders on this team this year.
I said Simons.
Did you? Okay, I want to make sure.
I said Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, and Anthony Simons.
Because I didn't. I completely ignored him. I took the ball and ran with it after you said that, and I was like, yes, Pritchard and White are absolutely going to have more responsibility. Anthony Simons, he might. We had, was it somebody emailed us or somebody online said like Simons is going to be the top
the GM who talked to Steve Opeth. Oh, listen, yes. I said it. I said Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, and Anthony Simons have the best chance to dethrone Jalen, but I just don't see any world where it happens unless
anybody in the comments being like, these guys don't know ball. They didn't even mention he could, and I think the argument is like he's going to have it a lot easier. I think than Portland. He has more help. There are better players next to him, even if we don't feel like the Celtics are at the same level that they were last year. Like, they still have talent. Simons is going to benefit from that, and it could open the gates for him to score more points. Okay. Rebounding / assists, whatever you'd like to move on to.
Okay. What do I want to move on to? Let's do assists. We'll just go to the three major stats. So, assists last year, Jayson Tatum led the team in assists at 6.0 per game. Derek White was second at 4.8. Total assists was Jayson Tatum as well. 431. Derek White was second at 361. This is an interesting one. I think of all the stats, this is probably the most intriguing of the bunch to who could lead the Celtics in assists. I think it's very much going to be a by committee thing. I think in an ideal world, it's probably Jaylen Brown who leads the Celtics in assists. Last year, for context, Jaylen Brown averaged what I believe was a career high 4.5 per game. It was a career high. 3.6 was 23-24, and that was a career high then. He jumped up all the way to 4.5. So I think if we're going by that trajectory, it should definitely be Jaylen Brown, especially considering how much he's going to have the ball in his hands. I do think there's a world where Derek White or Peyton Pritchard or maybe even Anthony Simons, but I just think he's probably going to have more of an off-ball scoring punch role than an on-ball role, but I could be wrong. There's a world where I think one of those guys could potentially lead the team in assists, but I think if everything goes according to the plan that seems to be the most likely for the Celtics, it should be Jaylen Brown.
He's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. It just depends on if the Celtics are interested in running a not heliocentric, but like superstar-centric offense, or they're more open to doing the traditional guard handles the ball and they do things offense, which sounds so stupid coming out of my mouth. Just because even in the when Jalen was by himself in Game 5, he have 12 assists? He went crazy. You can't expect him to have 12 assists a game, but he had a really efficient assist game that day too. So he's definitely capable of doing that. It's just a question of whether or not Boston is going to ask him to do that consistently. Are they going to lean into the abilities of Derek White and Peyton Pritchard to create space? Like, Pritchard is a sneaky candidate for this. I don't think he's going to be doing Rondo type stuff, but he could. Anytime Peyton Pritchard is given the opportunity, he racks up the assists. Is he playing April games against me and the boys? Yes, he is. But he sure can kick the ball around. And we talked about it, I think, in the summer when we were doing our Pritchard expectations video. He had a bunch more potential assists in those games. And because he was playing with a lot of the Celtics backups, he wasn't able to cash in on those potential assists. He didn't end up with as many as he could have. So I think he's a sneaky candidate for this. I think Jalen makes the most sense, but I think Pritchard or even Derek could be like, I don't know. I'm trying to I'm so broken now. All I can think of is like betting lines. I'm like, okay, so Jalen would probably be like, I don't know, minus 300, but Pritchard, Derek probably sitting around plus 250, like something like that. Like, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but it would be a little surprising.
So context, assists last year, Jayson Tatum, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Peyton Pritchard. Potential assists, Peyton Pritchard did have more than Jaylen Brown last season. He did play in a lot more games, so that is very, very important context to add here. But Peyton Pritchard did have 535 potential assists. Derek White did have 605. So the biggest downside, though, last season was Jayson Tatum's 431 assists to 836 potential assists. Tough. Very tough for Jayson Tatum. Okay. Steals. Last year's steals leader, Jaylen Brown at 1.2 per game. Totals, however, was Jayson Tatum. I think this is a bit of a weird one because, like, theoretically, Jaylen Brown led last year. He should just lead again. But is the toll that he's going to have to take on offense going to hurt his defense? Is he going to take it upon himself to make sure it doesn't do that? Like, what is that going to look like? I think that's going to be a very interesting storyline to follow. If I had to pick a steals leader heading into the next season, I think Jaylen Brown would probably just be my far and away bet. But I do think Derek White or even Peyton Pritchard, but probably mostly Derek White might have a chance. So I'm going to go with Derek White just because I think he is probably going to have to guard a lot of the best guards more often with Drew Holiday gone. Even you see sometimes last year they played Derek White in an off-ball role to help over in the paint blocking shots. Not anymore. I think Derek White's going to be my steals leader. Guess.
What the fuck is wrong with me? I'm just sitting here thinking, probably Peyton Pritchard. So quick. He's going to be annoying. Like, I don't know why my gut is telling me that. I swear I'm not going to pick him for blocks. I won't. I promise I won't. I think he had, like, just to build off your last point, like if Derek is guarding the primary ball handler more often, is he going to have more opportunities to get poke steals? Yes, but Pritchard might have the opportunity to get like passing lane deflections and those type of things where he can pile up the stats that way. Maybe I'm just trying to make the show more interesting by picking somebody different and not going, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. Derek, top dude. Yeah,
I think Tatum's a fair pick. I was between the two for context.
Yeah.
Well, and Jaylen.
Okay,
I was
fair.
between the top three guys, so I think it's fine.
Derek is an all defensive league type player. Like there's no disputing he's a great defender. For some reason, I just feel like Pritchard. I think maybe it's the unknown. Like we haven't seen him play such a high volume of minutes. He hasn't gotten to start yet in the NBA.
He's gonna guard superstars next year. He's gonna have to.
And maybe he'll be more tired. Like as stupid as that sounds, like he might have tired legs, so he might not really be able to contribute in the way I'm like laying out here. But there's a chance that he's able to be really disruptive. And he has the bulldog type mentality that he carries with him where he's just a pest. And that enables him to play defense at 6'2" or whatever he actually is. Because a lot of people don't really feel like he's 6'2",
he's not.
as Jack's face might tell you. But yeah, like I think he can really be disruptive. So I will say Peyton Pritchard. Sure.
Definitely. Yeah, no, I can see it. Last one, blocks. Kristaps per game at 1.5, but he only played in 42 games. Derek was second at 1.1. Derek led the team in total blocks at 80. I see no reason why this will change. I just think Derek White will probably lead the Celtics in blocks again. Now, maybe there's a world where Nemish Queta takes that massive leap. He did get 42 blocks in 62 games last year. He did average 1.8 blocks per 36 minutes versus Derek White's 1.1. So I think Nemish Queta has a very fair shout. But I'm probably just going to go with Derek White, even though I think it'll probably be something along the lines of Nemish Queta averages like 1.1 blocks and Derek's at 1.2. Like I think they'll be very neck and neck. But just for total blocks, I think Derek White's probably going to just play more minutes than Nemish Queta next year.
I agree with you. I will say you did lay out the one way that it would not happen, is he's not really able to be the help defender as much anymore, which...
It's true.
So I'm going to pick Peyton Pritchard. No, I think it should be Derek again. You mentioned
it could be Boucher too, but
I don't know if he'll play the minutes though. You know, like I don't know if the opportunity will be there for him to do that. Nemi does have a chance. He's probably a little bit too jumpy. A lot of those potential blocks might become fouls and might rob him of the totals. Derek is probably the safest bet. As boring of a podcasting topic as this has turned out to be with the blocks, it's probably an open to shut case with Derek White.
Yeah, I think that's just what I'm going to go with. Okay, we'll move on to the emails. Let us know what you guys thought of the stat predictions. Let us know yours. Reminders, always, you guys can email us at hbtcpod@gmail.com. That's hbtcpod@gmail.com. We have 3 today, all from RJ the GOAT. First one, RJ says, player comps. Afternoon, folks, as the offseason begins to wind down, I thought I would do an overlooked feature on Basketball Reference, similarity scores. They don't try to match up style of play, more like career results. So for Nimi Ishiketa, the most helpful match is 7'2" Luke Longley, who played for 10 total years, contributed to the Bulls' second three-peat as their center. Two more amusing to me match is the timeless Bevo Nordman, a 6'10" center who played 4 years in the association from 62 to 65. Sam Hauser's comparison buddies include a couple forward center guys such as Ben Poquette maybe, and Jim Peterson, who had a little range for their shooting in the 80s. Then there's the guy that would be an impressive match for Hauser, Rudy Gay, 17 years in the league, averaging 15.8 points per game, but only made the playoffs 3 times. Sam has made it to the playoffs in each of his first 4 years. In the backcourt, Pritchard is shown matching up with current NBA sharpshooter Buddy Hield. Baylor Shireman and Jordan Walsh haven't played long enough to plug in their similarity score generator, so I'll leave asking who you think their careers will resemble. Be well, RJ. So Shireman and Jordan Walsh, who their careers will resemble, that's the question. I mean, in an ideal world, I think the same one Baylor Shireman has been compared to since he stepped in the league, Joe Ingles, would be a very, very good career arc if he would like to do it. The lefty shooter, they have fairly similar shooting styles, but it is just the white guy lefty shooter comp, which feels a little cheap. For Jordan Walsh, what would be the ideal Jordan Walsh comp? I would need to like go look at league leaders and stuff and like look at who I think he should imitate.
I'm trying to here's the problem with the player counts for these guys. I think Shireman is nice because we have like people have been doing the Ingles thing for a while, so it's very easy for us to just point to that. Jordan Walsh, the right answer is probably a bunch of dudes we don't know who they are. couple year pros didn't really pan out, and I'm rooting against that.
An
he
ideal
has a good
world.
chance this year.
Let's
And
root
if
for
you
an
want to
ideal
think of
world.
like an ideal, like that could really be like the ceiling. Like maybe it's like this might be a reach. Shane Battier, like somebody who can play defense and maybe knock down threes at some point. Like you can hope for that a little bit. I don't know if it's going to be a reality for him. I'm trying to think.
Okay,
of like
what about? I found a few. So the way I did this was I went back
Is
to
it Matt
2018-19 stats and I clicked steals leaders. What about like Justin Holiday? Decent three-point shooter, fine defender. Trevor Ariza.
Lengthy career.
If you like Trevor Ariza or Kent Bazemore, like that type of player who's annoying on defense, really long, lanky frame, solid enough three-point shooter. Like Kent Bazemore career 35.6, 35.1 for Ariza, 36.5 for Justin Holiday. Like can knock down threes, not incredible at their best. Like Justin Holiday's knocking down 40% of his threes, 43% of his threes. Like has a couple good seasons. I feel like that's a fine target for Jordan Walsh. Hopefully he can reach that ceiling, but right now it looks like that would be a pretty good mark. Like if he can become Trevor Ariza or Justin Holiday for the Celtics, I think he should be relatively happy. Or Torrey Craig, who was on the team last year.
That was bad miss by us. Torrey Craig was right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any of those like lengthy defense guys is really the ideal Jordan Walsh, I don't know, final product. Somebody that you can rely on to shoot a little bit and can be disruptive defensively. We're going to see. Walsh is definitely one of the most interesting stories going.
Hopefully we'll see. Well, it just
feels like the opportunity should be there.
It should be. I agree. RJ says, don't look at the final score. Morning, folks. Just watch the Germany-Portugal game. It was a whole lot closer than the 85-58 score would have you believe. And Nimi is ready to contribute for the Celtics. Yeah, I think I saw somewhere on Twitter. Like, I didn't get the chance to watch. I was moving around a lot, running errands. But 33-7 in the fourth quarter. Germany had scored Portugal. So it was a close game for a long time. Through 3 quarters, Portugal played the game they wanted, pestering Germany and staying close with a combination of German complacency and insane shot variance. The score at the end of 3 was Germany 52, Portugal 51. Yep. And Nimi was eating up the German interior. The only thing slowing him down was ball pressure on the Portuguese guards to keep the ball away from him. Nimi finished the game with 18 points, 11 rebounds, 2 steals, and a block, and only 1 foul. That's actually really good. Germany got off to a 6-0 start and never looked back, while Nimi finished the first 2:16 of the fourth on the bench and didn't attempt a shot for another 3 minutes. Portugal went away from the interior offense that had been working, and it paid the price. The takeaway from this tournament is that Keita is positioning himself not just to be the Celtics starting center, but laying the groundwork to be the center Boston was hoping for in Porzingis. He was finishing well around the basket over smaller defenders, not overreaching when playing bigs, the level of Jokic, Porzingis, or Şengün, and playing effective defense without fouling. He has a smooth jumper, out to the three-point arc, and even made 2/3 of his free throws. on volume, 35 attempts over 6 games. That's pretty good. Training camp looks to be fun, and anyone who thinks the Caesar tank worthy this year is flat out wrong. Be well, RJ. If Nemish Kade can bring over 75% of what he brought in Eurobasket to the Celtics, they're going to be in a phenomenal spot. So this was a great summer for Nemish Kade, for sure.
It is a good launch point. It's really hard because I'm trying not to get my hopes up. I know the NBA is far different. I know that Nemi has had his flaws in the past. But if it's like twofold too, because not only like if he's good as the team, better than it would be, but also it's a good story for all of us too. Like it's a good narrative for us in the media to just keep in our back pocket, have things to write about, have good questions to ask, like those type of things. So if he pans out, then we can be like, how do you think Eurobasket impacted your season this year? Like, was that the important start? Like, there's so many different things that we can tie it back to. But yeah, need Nemi. Need him. We talked about it in the predictions section. He has to be a guy the Celtics can rely on at the center spot. And oh man, that first preseason game, if he plays well, we're going to be, Nemi, he's ready. He's the guy. we have to be careful
though. We did that with Xavier Tillman last year.
We did. So. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm just sitting here thinking about. Oh man, guys, we've anointed.
We're forgetting about Tillman too. He could. We never know. He could come to play this year.
It's just to me, it's not even a question about him. It's just, is he even going to get a chance?
And he might have to.
The intake of centers this summer makes me lean towards no.
We'll see, man. He could play the 4. We really get ugly.
Apparently, Xavier Tillman is like one of the like good jump shots to have in 2K if you don't have a high 3-point rating. Saw it at like a YouTube short or something. All right,
you make me sad. Last email, RJ again. Time to guess how I think Joe will use the roster. Afternoon, folks. Post my annual guess on how much each Celtic will play at this year at Celtics blog. Quick write-up can be found here. Looking forward to your guesstimates. Be well, RJ. We kind of just did this when guessing the minutes. So, Sam, I'm going to guess you. I'm going to have you guess what RJ said. Time to play everyone's September game. How many minutes this year will be a little more challenging with all the player turnover. So, the surprising 6. So this is the top 6 in minutes this season. So I want you to guess who he believes will be the top 6 in minutes for the Celtics this season.
Jalen.
Yep.
Derek.
Yep.
Peyton.
Yep.
Sam Hauser.
Yep.
Nemi.
Yep.
Anthony Simons. Oh, no.
Yep.
Okay. I thought he was going to say he was going to get traded.
No. So he said Derek and Jalen at around 26.95, Pritchard at 23.20, Simons at 2100, then Kade and Hauser at 1950. I think that's fair. I'd like to see Hauser and or Kade crack the 2,000-minute mark, but we'll see. So the next 1, 2, 3 in minutes. What do you think?
Chris Boucher.
Yep.
I want to say Shireman.
Nope.
Josh Minot.
Nope.
Luka Garza.
Yep.
Okay. And did you say Walsh?
Yes. So he has Walsh at 1350, Boucher at 1300, and Garza at 840. Okay. The next 1, 2, 3. The next 3.
Shireman.
Yep. 780.
Josh Minot.
Yep. 550. Last one. Just talked about.
Oh, we just talked about him. Xavier Tillman.
Yes, sir. 550 for him as well. And then the last one, the main Celtics. Mari Williams, maybe 300 minutes. Ugo at 140, maybe, depending. RJ Lewis and Max Shulga here and there is what he said. I disagree a little bit. I think Shireman's going to get a lot more minutes than that. I don't think that's a necessarily fair assessment. He played 780 last year. Or excuse me, he predicted 780. Last year he played 384. I think he's probably going to take a lot bigger of a jump than that, at least if I had to guess. You're having Jordan Walsh jump from 400 minutes to 1,300 minutes too. I think that's a very large jump. We'll see, though. I could be very wrong. I honestly kind of hope Josh Minot plays a little bit more than that as well. I think he could play a pretty interesting role for the Celtics. And unfortunately, I feel like him and Jordan Walsh could be competing for the same minutes, and we'll have to see who's a little bit better. But we'll see. We'll see. Who knows what can happen. Thanks, RJ. Appreciate the emails as always. And no NBA stuff has happened, so we can go right to the route list here. Sam, what you got?
I'm gonna be the bad guy. Week 1 of the NFL is one of my least favorite days of the year. I just despise it. It's an insufferable circle jerk where everybody is just gassing it up. They love it. It's their favorite thing ever, and nobody will be bothered. Like, I love to play basketball on Sunday nights, and we actually had enough yesterday, so shout out to them. But traditionally, we do, like, none of my close friends went to basketball yesterday because they're all too busy watching a bunch of teams that don't play. But you know what? I'm like trying to sit here and think about why I really don't like the NFL. And I think part of it does stem from it is so easy for people that like the NFL to talk themselves into bad teams being good. And the Patriots lost yesterday. The Patriots lost to the Raiders, who, to my understanding, are also not a good team.
They'll probably be a little better this year, but not projected to be great. They signed a good quarterback, so that's it.
Yes, and they drafted Genty, who's borderline Heisman guy. Did Genty play well yesterday?
Yeah, he looked pretty good. He scored a touchdown, 11 carries for good 20 yards.
But anyways, Drake May apparently didn't play well. And I just had a whole summer of just people online hyping up Drake May. I mean, people just talk themselves into anything. The Patriots people are the worst. They get any like drop of, ooh, there's something positive going on in the team, and they'll tell you the team's gonna make the playoffs. Like, maybe they will. I don't know. I literally know nothing about the NFL. Like, I'm so bad at it. But man, I just think all of it's so annoying. I'm sure you enjoyed your day.
I did. I had a good time.
Yeah, I'm happy
fun.
for you.
Thanks. No, it was fun. I enjoyed it. The Sunday night football game was fucking incredible. So it was a good day. It's a good day. It was a good day.
It was just funny. Like, I woke up yesterday and like my group chat is going crazy, and like that group chat never goes crazy, and it's just a bunch of guys sending their picks that aren't going to win. And
people enjoy it, man.
I sent a screenshot. You know the tweet that's like two dumb bitches telling each other exactly? Like, that's all of them sharing their.
You know what? My rat list, they were correct to get mad at you. They were correct.
I understand. But they thought I was getting mad at them because they were like excited for the day. I was like, you guys are just not going to win your bets. And you're like, do you guys think this is a good bet? It's the blind leading the blind. You guys are all going to lose.
It's the fun. People just like having fun, man. And when you go in there and just shit all over their fun, I get why they get mad at you.
I don't know what's wrong with me. I got something in me that like I can't not do it. Like, I can't
let people have fun.
Yeah, I can't. I just have to be like, you guys are stupid. Like, I didn't go to the football get together yesterday, like out of spite.
Yeah. You suck. That's a rattle.
I know I suck here. Like, I literally started this by saying I'm gonna be the dickhead. Like, I know.
I get it. You don't have to like it. I get it.
I'm nothing if not self-aware.
What do I want to rat list? Let's see. I'll rat list parking, man. Parking in Southie. So I realized my problem. So I went out this morning because I'll start the whole story over. So I come back from errands with Michaela yesterday. I get into Southie. Like, I arrived in Southie at 2:00. I didn't find a parking spot till 2:45. I was just driving around, right? Or no, 2:20 to 2:45 or 2:50. Like, it took me 20 to 30 minutes to find a spot. And the spot I did find is only residents parking 6 p.m. to 10 a.m. So I think there's stuff like during the workday, people need to park there. Whatever. I moved my car this morning to a spot on the street, like the main street. And I'm going to move it again at 1 p.m. because the way it works is it's street cleaning. One half of the street is every first and third Monday. The other one is every second and fourth Monday. But since the street that is first and third Monday or second and fourth Monday was just cleaned today, I'm going to move it there at 1 p.m. while everyone's still at work.
Yes.
Get a good spot. Be fun. So that's fine, but it took me way too long. Very annoying. But it is what it is. It's fine. It got done. It's okay. Anti-rat list, though. We finally got our porch set up, got the couch out there. So we spent last night we had the football game on one TV, and then we created an MLB The Show two-way player, Road to the Show, for like the community house. So we passed the controller around, one at bat, one appearance, and we're just playing our guy who
That's fun.
We named him George Kramer, and he is 6'7" with a mullet and
inspired by Seinfeld characters.
I believe, yes. Yeah, I think that was.
You need to watch Seinfeld. That's a perfect put it on while you do your work show, as you like to do. It's a fantastic show.
Mm-hmm.
I will rat list, anti-rat list, the state of Massachusetts, anti-rat list the state of Rhode Island. Speaking of football, on Saturday, UMass lost to FCS Bryant University. Outright.
Yeah, UMass is
at home.
UMass is bad.
Yeah, we know this. We're aware. But Bryant is also bad. And I happened to be a Bryant backer on Saturday afternoon, and it was lovely. The game, by the way, was delayed a significant amount of time due to tornado warnings in western Massachusetts. And it was really funny to watch it because, one, we had to watch it on the ESPN app, like where you can watch like the college stream of the game, right? But there's like 3 people at this game that is like absolute back and forth. One, like it was one on a field goal type of duel, right? Shout out to Bryant. The Ocean State triumphs over Massachusetts. Yeah, it was a fun watch, but college football, man, I think it's just so much more like chaotic than the NFL, and I think that's what moves the needle for me. Like it's so unpredictable. It almost reminds me of basketball in a way because like it can just turn and crazy stuff can happen. Like Florida lost to South Florida.
South Florida is just nasty, apparently. Won 2 games against ranked opponents. Well, I'm not sure beat 2 ranked opponents.
They did beat 2 ranked opponents. They got Miami next week, so we're gonna see.
We'll see.
Miami, who's supposed to be very good. Florida, we had Florida first half, and Florida got to the red zone 3 times and scored. I think it was all field goals, or they didn't even score one of the times. And then I spite bet South Florida money line in the second half, and it did hit. It was a good time. We had some like electric bets hit this weekend. We had Oklahoma over Michigan live bet the over at halftime because that was an absolute slog. And then we also took Oklahoma spread live, and they both hit at the same time. So that was like a double crack hit.
Pretty good. Rat list Travis Kelce for just clotheslining Xavier Worthy on the second play of the game.
Aren't they?
Did you see this? Yeah. They ran crossing routes and ran into each other, and Xavier Worthy like dislocated his shoulder and was out for the rest of the game.
Oh, that sucks.
And he's on my fantasy team. He just wiped out like 3 of my fantasy teams. And listen, man, this is like the expansion league team too, so it's not like I have any better fucking options available. Brutal. It was brutal. That I will say. Outside of that, though, I had some pretty okay performances. I still lost by a lot because my roommate Ryan has Pat Mahomes, Bijan Robinson, and Kyle Hamilton in IDP, which we play with, just put up a combined like 60 fucking points. So I just lost. He put up 123, which is like what the most in our league, the second most in our league last week. So I was just fucked. I put up 87, and I was okay. But I there were some promising performances from some of my young players, so I was happy as my dynasty league continues to unfold here. But that's really all I got. I don't have much else in terms of rat list.
I'm just looking at a photo of Billy Donovan was inducted to the Hall of Fame this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And Al Horford posted a picture of like him and some of his Florida teammates with Billy at the Hall of Fame, and I was like, damn, like rare Al Horford in Massachusetts photo now. Like he's not going to be over here that often. I always think it's so cool that the Hall of Fame is over here because you see like all these massive stars, like LeBron was there, Shaq was there. Yes, like it must be crazy. I mean, I'm sure they don't stay long. I'm sure they go to Six Flags, go to the Hall of Fame, and then leave. They
probably don't even stay in Springfield. They
probably leave. No, they probably just all take private jets in and get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, for sure. That's all I got though. You got anything else?
I don't think I have anything else. I feel. Oh, okay. This is a good one. So yesterday, you did the show with me yesterday. You were one of the listeners would have seen too. I don't even know if you noticed. I shaved yesterday, kind of. Like, I left. Yeah, you noticed. You just didn't say anything. You were trying to be nice. I left, like, the shittiest goatee possible. And I left this yesterday, and I shaved this morning. I was home alone when we did this yesterday. Mm-hmm. And we finished the show. I did some writing. And then I played Xbox for a while. My girlfriend was out with her friends. And they came back. And I had forgotten that I had done it at this point. And she, like, freaked out. She was, like, cracking up. And I was like, oh, that's right. I did this thing. And I had completely forgotten that I left a goatee. So it was quite an insane reaction. And I'm sure you can imagine how she felt about it. Not that I wanted to keep it anyway. I literally was
the fact that it's off your face, I can't imagine how she felt about it. Oh, man. All right. Well, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll let Sam take it back.
Hey, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe. We are here every single day. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, game recaps the morning after each game. Other videos are here in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics, so stick around through all of it. You can find us on Spotify and Apple too. All pods and recaps are up there, so if you just want those, go ahead and follow. They will go right to your feed. Leave a 5-star review. I appreciate that very, very much. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. Big shout out to RJ. Carried the load for the fellas today. hbtcpod@gmail.com. This is big email time for everybody. Get them in. Our socials are at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Facebook's the name of the podcast. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's Jackson NBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance. That's it for us.
Taco. Come on.
Taco's having some fun here.